Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our trailer talk show in which we pick out a bunch of trailers that happened recently and we talk about them. We look at them. Are we excited for the movie? How's the trailer? How does it work? Is it good? Is it bad? And then at the end of the show, we pick our favourite of the bunch. So that's what we're going to do. And this is your first episode of 2019 with your trailers that came out over the Christmas period that paled up a little bit. Not a ton of them, but there's a few biggies.
There is. We were waiting on just enough that it was worth doing again after the Christmas break.
We actually have been trying to record this particular trailer talk for about a week. They just kept getting pushed back for one reason or another, but we got a couple of big ones. So without further ado, we'll get diving into it. Probably the first big one that came out was Men in Black International.
Yeah.
Which is Men in Black 4. Kind of, I guess.
Kind of. Is it officially titled Men in Black 4?
No, it's Men in Black International, as far as I can see. Which makes sense once you see the trailer, when you see it's set in England. But,
yeah.
So yeah, Tessa Thompson, Chris Hemsworth, you get Liam Neeson.
Obviously.
There, yeah, who kind of fits being the head honcho at Men in Black quite well. As does Emma Thomas, admittedly, but Liam Neeson even more so. I find it odd Emma Thomas is the head of the American Men in Black. I mean, I guess why not? But it's just, it's funny how the plot is. You get off to the English version, and then it's like, but you were already English.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your feelings on the franchise before you even where are you with it?
I remember very much liking the first one in my younger years. I have not seen it in a long time. The second one was never that good, naturally.
Yes.
The third one I saw when it came out. I saw it once when it came out. I thought it was all right. I had fun with it. Never felt the need to revisit it, but it was all right.
Yeah, I remember liking the first one a lot when it came out. I never liked the second one. It's downright really bad, honestly.
Yeah.
And the third one, I was mildly surprised that it wasn't as bad as 2. It was a bit better.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as what I remembered the first one.
I have to admit though, even the first one, in hindsight, I don't necessarily have that much fondness for it. I don't feel the need to rewatch the first Men in Black ever.
I would. I'm a little trepidatious about rewatching it. I don't want to ruin it for myself. I don't want it to be worse than I remember.
Because I think I watched 1 and 2 again before 3 came out, and I think it was fine. I know why I liked this when I was a kid, but
the real question is, do we have to watch them before this comes out?
No, I don't want to. Maybe the first one, but I really don't want to watch 2. I really don't.
I'll blame you on that.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't think the first one's necessarily aged like the fine wine that you would hope it did. There's no reason why it shouldn't. You got Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, who I like a lot. I like both those guys a lot.
Yeah.
Rip Torn's in there. So, it's a great cast.
It's a fun movie from what I remember.
But for whatever reason, I don't have that many great memories of it now. So international new cast. We got Tessa Thompson, Chris Hemsworth as the main duo,
who we know are excellent together.
Yes. Obviously, I like the cast in this. I mean, that was never kind of in doubt. And it's funny because it just feels like a Men in Black trailer, really, right? I mean, they've got the big shiny weapons. You've got your newbie, who's Tessa Thompson, who's kind of tracked the place down. She's been looking for years, which isn't exactly the same as Will Smith's character, but it's pretty close. He was only looking for a day when he found it, but the idea, he's an outsider and he finds it and gets recruited. Similar ideas. She gets shipped off to the UK branch and gets teamed with Hemsworth, who's a bit of a charming buffoon, to say the least.
Somehow is effective despite his moronicness.
Yeah, there's a joke at the end of the trailer, which I think is meant to clearly be a Thor reference, where he picks up a hammer and goes, "Now the tables have turned," and he throws the hammer, but the alien just catches it. And it's just not working in this one. Which is amusing. I had chuckle at that joke at the end. The rest of it, I like the cast. I think it looks fine, but it didn't specifically do anything that wowed me.
I personally found it a lot of fun in terms of the two of them together doing the stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this movie.
I don't think Tessa Thompson gets a lot in this trailer to show how she's going to be funny. Yeah, because most of it's him. She's the straight man in this trailer.
Yeah, which makes sense because this is all new to her.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's different from the first. Because if you think of the first one, Tommy Lee Jones was a straight man. Will Smith, who was a newbie, was the one who was cracking all the jokes.
Yeah, no, I get that. This makes more sense to me though. She's new and trying to impress, where he's got the this is all old hat to him. He can just be witty now.
I almost think, at least for me, it made the mistake of focusing too much on the action for the trailer, where I'm like, that's not really what I come to Men in Black for. I'm here for the good chemistry and jokes.
I will laugh. There was a point where they pull the cover off the car, and it's just it's a Lexus, and like it's supposed to be this really classy car. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a Lexus. Come on.
Yeah.
Just the way it was shot made me laugh.
Yeah, I feel like Men in Black's a thing that Sony are desperate to make like a huge franchise, and it's
Remember when they wanted to cross it over with Jump Street?
Yeah, and it's really, and honestly, I think I might have preferred that just because it would have been wackier.
If this had been any other pair of lead actors, I might agree. But I really like these two.
We could have had this pair and then still have it cross over with Jump Street.
Damn it! I didn't think about that.
There's no reason. I mean, I don't really think
that's the next one.
Yeah, fine. I don't really think Smith and Jones were probably coming back for that anyway. So might as well just have these two.
That's the next one.
Yeah,
we're building to it.
I think typically Men in Black, I've very rarely ever cared about the actual plot, and I think I feel the same way about this trailer. Maybe it'll surprise me in that regard, but I don't think I'll give a shit about what they're fighting or what the alien's doing.
I don't care, and I don't need to care as long as I have fun.
I need to care for it to be more than just forgettable fun, because honestly, that's how I feel about the first one, is that it's forgettable fun. I never feel the need to rewatch it because that's what it is.
Look, I understand that. For me, if this is fun enough that I can treat it as like a comedy, like an action comedy, I'm happy that I don't need any more than that, and I will be very happy with this movie if it can pull that off, and
which makes sense. I'm fine with that for other movies, but for some reason Men in Black just doesn't do it.
I don't need more from Men in Black.
It's not that I necessarily need more from Men. I mean, I guess I'm saying I do need more, but it's not that I want more from Men in Black. Like, in theory, it should be fine. Like, other franchises are just action comedies that I enjoy, but for whatever reason, Men in Black just, I don't know, it's just kind of okay. And this trailer looks like it's got a great cast again, and they'll probably be delightful in it, but the trailer itself didn't do anything to make me think I'm going to like this more than the others. Well, the first one, I guess.
Fair enough. I think for me, their chemistry comes off really well, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to like this a lot.
I don't know if it does.
For what it is.
I guess what I'm saying there is that it focuses so much on her being the straight man and him being funny and goofy that almost everything she's doing in this movie is silent. Like in the trailer, I mean. Like in the trailer, everything she's doing, she's just there reacting to things and picking up guns and going wow at the cool gadgets and stuff like that. Whereas he's the one who's got all the funny lines in this. So I don't think they get a chance to show me their chemistry in this. And I'm sure it's there because I know they have it, but
I'm not saying she's showing comic strengths in this trailer. I'm just saying, when she gets there and he's snoozing, she drops the pile, just the look on her face, still, and then his reaction, chemistry there.
Can you name me a second example?
Yeah, when he tells her to pull the mirror on the car. Yeah, still.
No, I wouldn't count that as chemistry. That's just her reacting to gadgets she's not seen before.
Fair enough. I thought the trailer was well enough cut though around that point that it felt like it.
That's the fish out of water part. I mean, honestly, if I have a complaint about the trailer, is that they are redoing the plot of the first one too much with her being the new person.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Because every single thing she's like going ooh and ah, I'm like, yeah, this was the first movie.
It was, but it's new things that she's oohing and ahhing at. Oh, I know another good moment of the chemistry. She just hit me. On the was it a bike they were on? When they land. And then,
sure, yeah, with the flasher, yeah.
And she's like, just drive.
Okay. All right. I didn't see enough of it to be excited. I don't mind seeing Men in Black International. It looks fine. But if I have my biggest complaint is that it's redoing the new person and being wowed at everything. And I get that it's for a whole new generation, but to me, I'm like, I saw the original movie, 20 plus years ago.
Here's the thing. Tessa Thompson is better than Will Smith, so I'm okay with that.
You may be right, but I've still seen it done before. It doesn't matter.
I can't argue.
I could watch Tom Hardy do a role that Arnold Schwarzenegger did 20 years ago. It doesn't change the fact that I've already seen Terminator 2. Still the same movie again with Tom Hardy.
Yeah. The difference is It's a lot harder to improve on Terminator 2 than it is
So,
on
okay,
Men in
sure.
Black.
Well, on that subject, I'll just say Space Jam 2's got a tall order
It does, doesn't it?
to deal with. And that is a movie from that time period that I do have a lot of nostalgia for. And despite how bad it might actually be, I still love it dearly.
Yeah, when did you last rewatch that?
Only about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. It's more recent than I would have expected.
I own it on Blu-ray.
Of course you do.
I own it on Blu-ray. That's why I saw it about 5 years ago, because that's when I bought it. It's gold.
Makes sense.
It's goddamn gold. That movie does not get
How much did it hold up?
it just desserts. Honestly, I think it's hard to say. I'm so blended with nostalgia, and I'm giggling at Bill Murray's jokes. I'm giggling at the Looney Tunes. I still liked watching it. Like, I'm not saying it's good, but unlike Men in Black, I wasn't sitting like being annoyed at everything that doesn't work. I was just kind of into it. Whereas with Men in Black, whenever I think about it, I just kind of think about how I don't really like the alien or the plot or or anything else. I just like the actors and some of the jokes. That's about it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so yeah, whatever. It looks fine. It looks fine. It's got a good cast, but the actual movie itself just looks fine.
No.
That's how I feel. Next up, Hellboy. We finally got a trailer for Hellboy, which felt long overdue. Even though they pushed the release date back to April from the original January.
Yeah, this is still only like 3 months.
Yeah, it still feels really close to the movie for the first trailer to come out. But no, which isn't a complaint. Like, I'd actually kind of prefer if all movies did this. It's just that because every other movie doesn't do it.
It feels like a lack of confidence in Hollywood, even though it shouldn't be.
And this trailer is surprising. It's surprising because they announced this movie, so this is the R-rated movie. It's going to be darker. It's going to be more horror-esque, you know, and what it's doing with its tone. And I am shocked to get a trailer that looks like it could just be Hellboy 3 from the other two.
This looks like the last two, just less stylish. Like, it's got less directorial style, I should say.
It's got an upbeat song playing throughout it. It's got a lot of wisecracking. Hellboy himself is cracking a lot of jokes, and I have to admit, I'm really disappointed because I was looking forward to a serious, dark Hellboy movie, and maybe that's just a case of mismarketing. Maybe this is like every joke in the movie that's just put together, and therefore it looks more like a comedy.
This is the first trailer. This is what people are going to judge it on, and what people are going to expect from the movie now.
Yeah. Which is funny because for some people it'd be disappointing if it ends up being a bait and switch. For me though, I'd be like relieved if it's a bait and switch. I'd be like, thank fuck.
Here's the thing. I actually really like the first two Hellboy movies more than you do, for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's actually funny. It's very similar to Men in Black. I think they're just fine and kind of generic.
No, I get that, but for me, especially the second one, it's just Del Toro going, screw it, I'm going to do my own urban fantasy, and I love that. Like, I really do. It's
just not horror focused because of the very little Hellboy I've read, and it is like one trade and a bit, right? I love the tone, the foreboding dread. They almost Lovecraftian, like incoming dread.
I've read a bit more than that now. I've been working my way through it.
A couple of omnibuses, right?
Yeah, I read a couple of omnibuses and some BPRD omnibuses.
And I assume that feeling is something that's kind of there, or at least something similar to it, sort of maintained.
Definitely throughout Hellboy, less so in the BPRD.
Sure, but BPRD is like a spin-off, so it's whatever.
Yeah. But I say that because there's a lot, like even in this, I can see BPRD characters there that are prominent. So I'm not, I say that like in the last two, even though I've read some Hellboy, I know what it should be, I know it, but I'm okay with that adaptation still. With this, I feel like I wanted something different, because if I wanted those last movies, just give me Hellboy 3 from that team, right? And I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that I will still like it more than those movies because it's not Del Toro. And I know this is a weird thing to say as a film fan, because most film fans jizz all over the thought of Del Toro making things. I'm really hit and miss with him. Mostly miss, if I'm honest. I don't like a lot of his movies. And I like him as a person. Like, I think I could sit and talk to that guy about movies for hours. But I don't like a lot of his movies. His visual style, which you praise about the first two Hellboy movies, didn't really do anything for me. So,
will you at least agree he has a more distinctive style? Whether you like it or not, it's a more distinctive style than what this movie has.
It's a more distinctive style, but I'd rather not have it than have it.
That's fair enough.
I'd rather something that just looks like a TV show. And I know that sounds
to
crazy.
me, this is that tone just blander in direction.
Which I don't think it looks like a TV show. I think that's a bit harsh. It still looks like a movie, but
yeah.
You know, these fighting trolls. You got Mila Jovovich as the villain, and there's some ways great. Daniel Day Kim from the hit television show Angel, which is a spin-off of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer's in there, with an English accent, because that's what it's set, seemingly.
Yeah, Ian McShane's in there.
Ian McShane's the old dude. Well, John Hurt passed away, so we can't have John Hurt back, unfortunately.
Yeah. But Ian McShane's pretty good.
Yeah, like, it's fine. I hate to be like negative back to back with you, because it's not that I think Men in Black looks bad. It's not that I think Hellboy looks bad. I think I'm just underwhelmed by both for different reasons, but I'm underwhelmed.
I think I could love this movie. Like I do. This is the fun urban fantasy. I can love that, right?
Yeah.
That speaks to me. I'm just disappointed because if that's what I was getting, I'd rather have just had another Del Toro one.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing a reboot, if there's we're getting everyone, all this new, everyone's new in, do something different, right?
Yeah, and Hellboy
stand on your own.
Looks good. It looks very similar to the last movies, to be honest. At least from memory, it doesn't seem that different. Which is perhaps the right thing, because he looked accurate to the comics.
The only thing I would say is, in the last ones, I'm always that's Ron Perlman.
Yeah, whereas David Harbour kind of just like fades into the role.
Whereas this, I'm going, no, that's Hellboy. So I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is Ron Perlman's fault though for being too distinct.
Oh sure, that's maybe the design of the makeup more than it is his.
Yeah.
Thing. He's got a really distinctive voice though, I suppose. So maybe that's also part of it.
It does, yeah.
So it may be fine. It may, there's a couple of nice shots in here. I was just not expecting this tone. Like I am genuinely disappointed that the tone seems very similar to the last two movies. When I thought the whole point of this R-rated version is that it was going for a more foreboding, Lovecraftian,
everything
dreadful thing.
Is counter to what I see in this trailer.
Yes, and it makes me wonder if the studio wanted to repackage it as this. And I wonder, is the movie itself repackaged to an extent, or is it going to be like a case of we watch the movie and these few jokes are in there because Hellboy has a bit of a sense of humor, but
if I'm trying to reason my way as to why it's like this trailer, is that the studio have gone, hang on, we know there's a lot of fans of those first two movies, arguably more fans than there are necessarily of just the comic. Can we appeal to them and get them in?
I mean, maybe, but they didn't do that well the first two movies. The whole point of this is to appeal to new people. So,
I get that.
Sure, it may not be so much that there's more fans of the comics than the old movies, but more for people who are just would be appealed more to something that's a bit darker, something that's a bit more serious, instead of something that feels like here's the Marvel movie version of a Hellboy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Which
I don't know. It's just disappointing.
Which didn't do well in the first place.
Because I see this and I'm like, if this is what the movie looks like and how it turns out, if this is representative of the final product, I'd rather just watch Hellboy 2, which I really quite like.
Because keep in mind, Hellboy 3, like, everyone involved wanted to do it, but Hellboy 2 just didn't make enough money to do it.
Yeah.
To justify it.
So this is the cheaper alternative, is get new people in to make the same movie.
And I was all for cheaper R-rated alternative. I thought that would actually benefit Hellboy more. Because one of the things I don't like about the originals is just how big in CG a lot of it feels. I don't like how that feels in the film. And I imagine there's less of it in this, but there's still fighting trolls and shit.
Yeah, like I'm looking. There's the big bat thing at the end.
Yeah.
You've got the big trolls that he's fighting. There's what looks to be Baba Yaga's house.
Yeah.
There's enough.
So I don't know.
Now the question I have to ask now is, we're gonna do the first two.
I mean,
do you like them more or less than Man in Black?
Well, I never really was into these two movies. At least I liked Men in Black 1 at some point.
Yeah, but
I'm not
you don't
necessarily
have to watch Men in Black 2, so
I'm not necessarily opposed to doing the first one. I don't necessarily want to watch both of them though.
Oh come on, the second one's the best one.
I thought it was even worse. I was more bored.
Oh come on, let's do them.
I don't really want to. No, that's because I don't want to.
The shite you've made me watch because there's a new movie coming. And now you're going,
Well,
Hellboy.
people, in the comments or on Twitter, let us know if you want to hear me complain. I just don't like Hellboy 1 and 2 without really any proper critique. Oh, and I just don't like Del Toro's style. Then, if you want that, then sure. But I feel like I'm just going to be whining for two reviews without any real insight.
You'll think of something.
No, I won't. It's going to make them bad videos. I'm thinking of the quality of the discussion. I don't
Never
think it'll be
bloody
good.
stopped you before.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I can think of two movies we just did that you have nothing critical, at least for one of them, to say. And it's just like, oh, I just don't like the style. They haven't seen it yet.
Oh, but that's more passionate. That is way more I have a lot to say about those.
Nothing critical.
I had a ton of critical things to say about the second one. Don't you even
All right,
start.
you did on the second one. That first one, though.
There were some critiques in there.
Some, but mostly it was all...
Yeah, but I'm way more lukewarm in Hellboy. That is like passionate hatred. This is just like, I don't like it. It's the worst possible place for a movie to be in for us to talk about it, because it's like, It'd be one thing if you had thought it was a masterpiece and you had lots of like.
Look, here's the thing. We'll do it, and we'll get Tim in.
See, if you had a lot of analysis, like, because let's say I had nothing to say, but you had a lot of things to actually analyze and like break down and say, here's why you think it's great. That'd be one thing. But I feel like your critiques are going to be, it looks pretty and it's fun.
Tell Tim I will record this at the usual time slot that he can do movies with you when you do your screams.
We're not promising anything here. I am not promising nothing.
Speak to Tim.
Tim's a huge Hellboy fan, for the record. If this conversation makes no sense to you, Tim's like...
Tim will not turn this down.
Huge Hellboy nut.
Like, ridiculously so.
To the point where if we can get him on the Gigawatts for the new one, we'll do it.
I think it has to be.
Because it's Tim.
We'll have to find a way.
Anyway, let's move on. Can we move on to the next trailer?
Yeah, I suppose.
Because the next one's good.
Yeah, it's all right.
The next one's called Us. It is the next Jordan Peele horror film about a family where, seemingly after their kid has a creepy encounter with something on the beach, an identical copy of the entire family start terrorizing them. I say identical, they're a little bit weirder, but like, it's them.
Yeah.
And start tormenting them. And Elizabeth Moss is in there as a sort of friend of the family. There's a lot of scissor imagery going on, but generally there's a lot of creepiness. And I think, comparing it to Get Out, there's a lot more straight up, this is a horror movie premise. Not that Get Out wasn't, but Get Out was a lot more really specific and like unique of a concept. This feels more like, no, there's people stalking this family. It feels more like a straight horror movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It does, yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Not that I don't think it's going to have, they'll have something to say. I'm still already theorizing what the analogy is here, but it's not as immediately like in your face as
there are
was.
things that I'm considering, but I need to see more.
Yeah, you need to see what the movie does with it before you can.
Yeah, before I can pinpoint. I'm not willing to say anything on camera. That's.
I think the most obvious thing is that it's their inner demons or something like that. If you want to go that far,
sure.
I'm assuming because it's Peele, though, there's going to be more of a wider societal implication.
Yeah. I will say, as a criticism to the trailer, I groaned when the kid went, "Don't you see? They're us." Whatever the line was, where he says, "Oh, it's us," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get it." I kind of just groaned.
I won't stand for this.
It felt for me out of tone with the trailer.
I'm sure it'll make sense in the scene that it plays. I think it's just because it's quickly cut after you've got the premise already.
Maybe. I'm not complaining about it in the movie. I'm complaining about it in the trailer.
That is the safety net for the idiots in the audience who don't get it. That's what it is.
Oh, come on. It was pretty... I actually thought the trailer took too long to have them be so confused as to who this is, when that first shot where there's just the silhouette of them up the top of the driveway.
All four of them,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this is very clearly them. Like, I can see his face, basically.
Yeah, but would you jump to that sort of doppelgangers of us if you see them in the distance?
No,
I
wouldn't necessarily.
You would take some more... You need more proof. You need to see them up more close to really make that choice.
Yeah, I think part of what's annoying me about the kid being like, it's us, is when they're all stood in their living room facing them, and the mum's like who are you? I'm like, I mean,
No, that makes sense.
I mean, sure.
Even after you've already realised they look like us, like, it still makes sense to ask who are, because you assume that someone who looks like you.
No. I agree in context of the film.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's in context of the way it's cut in this trailer. It's presented as like, okay, we don't know there until the kid says it. It's like, okay, we get it now. That's the way it came across to me in the trailer. And
I'll tell you what I liked in the sound, though. There was a lot of those sharp strings and stuff like that.
It was.
I was feeling the terror building. This is a full-on, like, horror, like, full of dread kind of movie by the looks of it. I'm excited. Obviously, Get Out gives a lot of reasons to be excited for Jordan Peele's next movie, but...
Question is, can I talk the girlfriend into seeing this one at the cinema? Because she typically hates horror movies, but she watches all the, as many of the films that are nominated for Oscars and stuff as she can, right? So I managed to talk her into watching Get Out, and then she really liked it. But I don't know if I'm going to get away with it with this one. Because it is so much more overtly. Yeah,
I wouldn't show the trailer. If you have any hope of doing this, you do not show the trailer.
That's the thing. But if I don't show the trailer and then she sees it and is like, "What the hell is this movie?" She might stab me. I might not make it out of the cinema to talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, yes. So that looks fantastic. Like this is the one this week that was like, no, this after the last two where I was kind of just middling on. This was like, no, this looks fantastic. This looks like a great horror movie. We're in a great period of horror right now. A lot of biggies coming out, spread out over time. And by that, I mean basically since 2015 onwards, it feels like horror's having a nice little resurgence. Like me and Tim do our top 10 at the end of each year. It's coming in February, March. Look for it then, for 2018, just if you're looking for it. But, no. So, that seems like the next step in that line. So,
yeah.
Next up, movie called Greta, which also turned out to be a horror movie. And this has Hit Girl, what's the face, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah.
And she finds a woman's purse on the train, and her address is inside it, so she drops it off, and this woman named Greta, and she starts being nice with each other. She invites her in for some tea, and they sit down, they have a chat, everything's all sweet, and I kind of like. Even though it hadn't turned sinister yet in the tone, I was kind of like, I feel like this is going to be that she wanted a stranger to bring that.
I wish, so how they do a lot of that the short few second thing at the start of trailers now?
Yeah.
It's her being really sinister with an injection, which obviously I don't like personally anyway.
Oh, by the way.
I wish that wasn't there just so that you get the trailer to unfold naturally rather than have that at the start. Okay, I know where this is going.
It spoils the tone that it's going to turn into.
Yeah.
I did laugh though at that quick injection in the neck because I was like, oh god, I was going to have to watch this.
It just starts with that, you prick.
And I'm like, I could warn him.
Yeah, you could have done.
Do you know the funny thing is I could have warned you about the one at the start, but you see it again in the middle of the trailer, and again, it's just as quick in the middle. It's not like there's any warning.
I've just seen it out of the corner of my eye.
It's just a jab in the neck, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So Moretz finds like a cabinet full of identical purses, and they all have like post-it notes with different like names and numbers on them. And it's like she's luring different people in. Seemingly, she looks for people who specifically have lost their mother because she wants to like fill that role of some kind. And perhaps maybe herself lost a daughter. I'm assuming it doesn't say that in the trailer, but I'm just kind of making a leap.
Would be an obvious leap, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But no, it looks not bad actually. Like I wasn't like sure about it at first, but as it got into more of the horror stuff, and it started to feel like no, she's really. It felt like a Misery on like speed or something. Because it was a really great scene. At least it looks great in the trailer where she shows up at her work. She's because she works at a restaurant and she comes to wait on her and she's like, "Oh, it's you," and she asks her to leave, and she starts like just causing chaos and like shouting at her and like.
There's a bit where she's just charging at her, and you have to all of her colleagues step in.
Yeah. But it feels really intimidating, even though she's this upper middle-aged woman, in her 50s.
Doesn't look that she's that threatening, really.
But in this scene, you're just like, oh no,
she's terrifying.
Someone grab like a bat or something, like.
Yeah.
And it looks like at some point she's going to capture her or whatever. The trailer maybe gives away a little too much, but
yeah.
At the same time, it's kind of selling the whole thing. So, it looks okay. Like, it doesn't look as good as us, but it looks like the premise is interesting. It looks like the performance from Greta herself.
Yeah.
It looks good.
I'm into it.
It'd be nice to like create Chloe Grace Moretz in something again, because she's been in a lot of crap.
Been a while, hasn't it?
I mean, I'm sure she's had some movies that I've just not seen, but there's been a lot of young adult stuff. Kick-Ass 2 was garbage. Like,
yeah, there was that trailer that we did not too long ago that looked like it would have been a really good movie. The gay therapy conversion.
Yeah, it was like the cult camp where they go and convert them in a camp. Yeah,
that looked like
okay.
It would have been a really good role for her.
Yeah, assuming that it was well written and directed.
Yeah. In terms of her performance, from what we could see in that trailer, though.
But you know, I think of her though from the last few. I'm thinking the Fifth Dimension. I think it was called. No, the Fifth Wave. It was the Fifth Wave.
Okay, yeah.
That young adult thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's had a great few years.
Yeah.
I still like her though.
I still like her. Yeah. And she's like 20 now, just to make you feel old.
Yeah.
she's voting. She's voting legally, which is just weird because you used to think of her as a Hit Girl who was like 12.
Yeah.
They're like, shit. It's been 9 years since Kick-Ass. Damn it. Anyway, so that's Greta. Next up, we had a film called Close. This is a Netflix movie starring Numi Rapace, who is hired as a bodyguard for this rich teen girl who's, I think her parents have died, and there's been a lot of kidnappings for rich people, so she's looking after her, but it seems like she gets double crossed and people are trying to kidnap her, and it looks like she's the little rich girl who doesn't want to do anything, is a bit of a bitch to her, but ultimately over the course of the film they sort of bond because they end up having to only trust each other because everyone's out to kidnap her, everyone's out to get her.
Once this got to the action stuff in the trailer, I thought it just looked really generic.
I actually had a problem before that. I thought the acting from the younger girl was a bit rough.
Yeah, that's true. And I wasn't a problem though,
because I like Rapace. I've liked in a few things, but I didn't like the younger actress. I agree. The action it does feel like a generic movie. If this feels like a cheaper Netflix movie that they got cheap. Yeah,
and in typical Netflix fashion, this is out in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like January 19th or something like that.
18th, I think. But
18th. So it's funny because we know they turned down a movie recently, and it was a movie starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, which regardless of quality or names, so hopefully
some quality control is happening.
Yes, and maybe they think this is better than we think it looks, which is possible.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe it's cheap enough that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So it's called Close because they get close over the course of the film. That's basically it.
Obviously. Yeah.
And then the final trailer we're going to talk about this week is called Braid. It's a very cryptic trailer, not a whole lot to. I don't think we can quite guess what the plot is outside of one girl brings the other girl to this mansion with crazy women who then demands they do crazy things with each other, like hit someone in the knee with a hammer, and it gets very psychedelic. One of the quotes that came up is it's a Lynchian nightmare, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm torn on this trailer because I technically like what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got style, but like whether it's a Lynchian nightmare, and it's like that's all well and good, but it's got to have something to back that up, and it's not showing me any of that.
It's not giving you plot.
This trailer is all just style,
which I don't hate. Like if it gets me still in a mood, I can kind of get into that.
I think this is a longer trailer than what I usually expect from a just style trailer. Because this is a good minute and a half, this trailer, and usually once I'm getting to that length, I expect at least some semblance of a plot. When it's just one of the 30-40 second ones that are, okay, no, this is just style. That's fine.
I don't have this weird arbitrary thing on length. I don't really care that it's a minute and a half, but I do agree there is something just something missing to really put it over the edge. But I don't think it's plot. I don't think it's plot that's the problem. I think it just needed a longer scene, maybe at the start before it started getting crazy.
Maybe like I say, it's hard. Don't think I could describe really anything that this movie is.
There's at least one moment where at least one section or scene of the film, the color palette completely changes. It's almost like it's not quite black and white, but it was like very grey tones with like harsh pink kind of like mixed in or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. And it sounds like you know, it's like because the only thing we've got to go on is like the narration says, oh, it's a game and there's rules. You're not allowed to like disobey the mistress. You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
And it's
But
like,
I feel like I don't really have any any grasp of what's happening. So I've got no context for all of this style at all.
I don't need context. If you give me a trailer that's just style and mood, I actually like the fact that it avoids spoiling any plot.
I just want something to tell me what it's about. I mean, style alone is not enough for me.
No, it can be for me. I'm not saying it is in this case, but there's definitely examples of trailers that I like, and I like that they don't show any plot.
I'm just gonna say this is kind of maddening that at the start of this, Men in Black's like, no. It being fun isn't enough. It's gotta have a plot. You gotta give a shit. Whereas this now is like, style, I'll do.
Yeah, but Men in Black's a mainstream blockbuster, and even then, like I might have said plot then, but really, all I really meant is something. This has style. It doesn't have the plot, but it has the style. It has a crazy tone. The way it cuts around and gets more haphazard as it goes on. It has something. Men in Black, it's got jokes.
What's wrong with jokes?
This feels more unique. I don't know. It feels more, and I'm not saying like I'm like all in. I like it enough to want to watch it.
Fair enough.
It's called Braid.
Says this would not get me to watch this movie. I'd need something more before I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it.
I want to watch this more than Men in Black, or Hellboy,
Oh, God, no.
or Close.
I'll give you Close.
Maybe Greta too.
No, I'd take Greta over this, based on this trailer.
I'm not saying for sure it'll be better. It may be a mess. I mean, this is the thing with movies like this, is that if it's not the right person making it, this could just be an incoherent mess.
Yeah, definitely.
That said, it's a lot of the quotes that are saying that it's Lynching Nightmare, so that implies that there's people reviewed it and don't think it's a mess.
Yeah, you can always find people to say that.
You can, but I mean, the implication's there.
Yeah.
I guess I say that because I expect bullshit quotes on bigger movies, I guess, than I do smaller independent movies like this that are, you know.
What amuses me, I think, is it would be way easier to just put your own quotes in on a movie at this level, and no one's going to question it.
I assume they were attributed to someone. I wasn't paying attention enough to check.
Let me try and find some. Okay, some of that one was.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're not always.
Okay, but we can track some of them to, sources.
You can, and it did have all your festival logos.
Yeah, which isn't always a good sign because there's a lot of shitty little festivals that'll hand out your festival logos.
Trying to see if there were any notable festivals. Because there was a couple of different festival screens that came up, if I recall.
I don't know. This caught my eye because it had something stark in it. Whereas Men in Black and Hellboy felt pretty generic to me. And that's the something. I'll take that something over
fair enough.
Other somethings. I know, it's a wonderful technical show where we have all this terminology that really conveys the intimate and intricate expressions of filmmaking that we like to delve into. And we boil it all down to it has something, but not another something.
It's ineffable.
Alright, well, that's the part of the show though where we're going to pick our favourite trailer of the week, so choose wisely.
I'm going to annoy you and choose Men in Black.
Bullshit.
No, it surprised me in that I wasn't expecting to care, and I'm like, I thought it was a really fun, well put together, slick trailer, and it didn't do anything that annoyed me like in some of the other trailers.
Us is the best trailer of the week. Is most likely going to be the best movie out of the bunch. I'm excited for us. Well,
I'm excited for the movie too.
I mean, I'm willing to watch most of these, but I'm saying I'm excited for us. Us is the only one that I'm outright excited for.
Oh no, I'm excited for Men in Black.
Nah, I mean, it'll be okay.
Sometimes fun's fine. Have fun.
People say that as if fun is this blanket objective thing that you can just say is fun. It's not. Fun is purely subjective. Fun is like saying something is funny. You can't just assume that someone else will find something as funny that you do. It's impossible. Same with horror, actually. Scary is just as equally subjective.
I'll say, yet everyone does just assume that people find other things funny. not saying you should. I'm saying everyone does it. So why not do it with fun?
Well, you're equally wrong as everyone else then. Therefore, I am the only one who is right. I am glad we have came to this conclusion. It's the natural conclusion to come to. But this has been Trailer Talk, the first one of 2019. The schedule for these is typically falling into an every other week kind of pattern. So it'll probably stick as that, unless there happens to be a lot of big trailers one week that is off cycle and we're like, oh, we need to get this out quicker.
Yeah, I think we were looking at going, okay, see what trailers are there every week or so, and if maybe sometimes it'll be 3 weeks if there's nothing really.
Yeah. So maybe it's just at the whim of what trailers came out. And we can typically look for some of the bigger ones, and then we'll look for some smaller ones that are interesting to bundle into it.
Yeah, I think the smaller ones are usually easier to find. You'll guarantee at least a couple of those to pad out the show. It's okay. What's the big one at the moment that we're gonna build around?
Yes. So I look forward to all the hateful comments who are mad at me for besmirching Men in Black. But please do so in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv and you can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys. And the news shows, because this is kind of tangentially related to the news shows, are coming back starting next week. Almost cancelled TV news will be up over the weekend, and then the movie news will be up probably the Monday after. So that's coming back in just over a week's time. So look forward to those. But that is us. So thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Keep watching movies. Goodbye.